All right, light up those pumpkins, everybody, because we are live. Let's see who else is awake and alive out there tonight. What is up, everybody? Happy Michael Myers Monday. Welcome to it. If you're new here, my name is Matt. We are Halloween Daily News, and this is Michael Myers Monday, our mostly weekly gathering, hangout, just general geek fest with our fellow fans, fanatics, and everything in between of Michael Myers and the Halloween movie franchise, where we celebrate this franchise. And you're here for a good one tonight, guys, a historic one, because not only is it Monday, like I always say, that means you made it through another week, and more importantly, you made it through another Monday, but it is Monday, January 2nd, 2023, the first Monday of a brand new year. So that means, in this case, guys, you made it through an entire whole year. So congrats on that. To all my returning friends, what's up, guys? You survived a whole year. That in itself is worth celebrating. So that's what we're going to do first, everybody. Raise a toast to whatever you're drinking tonight. And happy Michael Myers Monday. Happy 2023. And hey, another thing it means if you're here tonight, it means you survived the month of December and all the badness that can sometimes bring as well. In any case, I hope yours was well. I hope you're all doing well. And that's how we're going to kick it off tonight. Welcome to it. Happy Michael Myers Monday, everybody. I'm going to turn over here into the live chat. I see some familiar friends already checking in early this evening. And just a tiny heads up, I don't know if it'll happen or not, but I got a little tip earlier. There might possibly be a special guest dropping in somewhere in the live chat tonight. I don't know. Just keep your eyes out for any special names that you might recognize, and let me know if you do. I'm not talking about Michael Myers, of course. I see Michael has made his presence known in silence, as usual, of course, naturally, as it should be. Let's see who else is in here. Tim Leo has checked in. What's up, man? Happy New Year. Sam Presley, of course. Darlene is here. Happy New Year. Halloween vibes. What's up, Josh? Good to see you, man. Let's see who else is in here. Phil, what's up? Going? Harley Quinn has checked in. Love watching your movies. Michael Myers. Oh, she's talking to Michael Myers. Awesome. Welcome, Harley. Saturn's in here as well. Art79, one of our channel members. We call it the Halloween Daily Club. It's just $5 a month. I'm going to plug it right now, and then I won't have to mention it again. But you can get your name in green like Art has. You can get one of those cool custom badges. You can use custom emojis. It's just $5 a month. And the main thing is you get to see some of our pre-recorded video content early before it goes public. Who else is in here? I saw a few other names this evening. Megan, of course, was one of the first to check in earlier tonight. Rob Windsor is here as well. Happy Michael Myers Monday to you, sir. And did we get everybody? I think we got everybody so far at the moment. Again, we're not going to be on here too long this evening. We don't have a huge show and an abundance of content to get into, but aside from it being the first Monday of the year, which naturally we have to welcome it in style, right? This is going to be the main event of the evening. I'm going to be diving into this 4K set, generously provided to us by Universal Pictures Home Entertainment. Hopefully you've already read my written review. If you haven't, don't worry. I'm going to recap some of that and then go into some other details that are not in that. And I got just a couple things I want to talk about before we get to that. And then, of course, we'll wrap up the show at the end with some Triple M shout-outs as we do the first shout-outs of a new year, as a matter of fact. All right, so how is everybody, first of all? Did you get some Michael Myers treats for the holidays if you celebrated the holidays? I usually like to start these shows, these live streams on Monday nights. It's kind of a tradition whenever possible. I start it with what I call a trick-or-treat, a show and tell. Usually it's a Trick-or-Treat Studios product. Yes, usually. That's not what it is tonight. Usually we start with a show and tell. Sometimes it's a product we have in stock. A lot of times it's something for my own personal collector's shelf. And so tonight, with the holidays just coming, and some of you know my birthday's Christmas week as well. It's a few days before Christmas. And we kind of had our holidays. It was all kind of abbreviated and weird. We celebrated with my parents out of town for the first time, and there was a lot going on with that. But it was all good. It all went really well. And but my amazing wife and son, they did take the time on my birthday right before we left town last week to give me just a few very special gifts in the privacy of our own home before we left. And one of them is what I'm going to show you guys for show and tell tonight. You probably already figured it out. If you haven't, look what I got. That's right. It's the officially licensed Halloween 2 1981 sequel Halloween to Michael Myers Chia Pet. That's right. We have talked about this weeks ago. We've talked about this a number of times. This was one of my most suggested holiday gift guide items when we did that last month. So of course it was on my wish list for Santa, and I didn't even have to wait for Santa because, like I said, I have the best family ever, and they hooked it up for my birthday early. Now I have not opened the box yet. I will. You guys know I'm and of course now I have that inner debate. Why didn't I just get two? Am I gonna have to get a second one to keep in the box just for the for the novelty of it because it is a Chia Pet. I've talked about that before. Some of you guys my age might remember the commercials and seeing the Chia Pet commercials back in the 80s. It's just part of Americana, and now I know they've been doing a lot of pop culture icons in recent years, and I know they've made their way to the horror icons, but this year this is definitely one of my favorite Michael Myers um, pieces of merch, maybe ever, just because it is just so weird and wacky and off the wall. And we've had a few comments on social media about this, like, oh my gosh, what are they thinking? What are they thinking doing this, licensing this? But sorry, but I think this is awesome and extra awesome that it's H2. And look at that with the blood tears. How cool is that? This is being sold at like Home Depot and Lowe's and places like that. H281 blood tears. You cannot beat that. Now, I am the first to say I'm not much of a gardener, but I'm going to try my hand at some pumpkins in our backyard this coming year, and I'm going to look forward to trying my hand with this guy. And if and when I do actually plant him, because I got to open it and see the head sculpt and see everything in here. But I've never done a Chia Pet of any kind before. But I'm thinking if we're going to do it, of course we're going to have to document it. And of course you guys will bear witness. You will be the witness bearers of the growth of Michael's gorgeous green hair, as it will be. Again, the packaging, it's pretty simple. You got your standard Chia Pet logo right up there. That looks like all the boxes. It's Michael Myers. I mean, true fans are immediately going to recognize those blood tears. He looks weird with the green hair, but that's the Chia Pet of it all. And then you have this great artistic image of Myers right here, H2 logo, and not much else to be seen. That's how he's going to look before the growth. And here's your step-by-step guide on the side panels. So again, very happy to have this guy again. Now it's just the ever because again with the Chia Pets, does that mean I'm gonna have to replant him annually? I mean, how does that work? Is he gonna is the hair just gonna fall out eventually? Which it kind of does on the masks eventually over time. So I don't know. You guys tell me how it's gonna work, and tell me if you've got the Chia Pet and if you're gonna actually grow the hair if you do. I want to hear your thoughts on that in the comments below and here tonight in the live chat. All right, I'm going to take a breath for a minute and see what's happening. David Santa Carla says, chia. Yeah, you guys remember the commercials? I mean, they're iconic. And yeah, I mean, is it silly that it's a Michael Myers Chia? Of course it is, but isn't the whole thing of the Chia Pets chili? Silly. I swear, I just started drinking. I swear, this is like my first sip. Believe it or not, I'm just can't talk tonight. Let's see. Who else is in here tonight? Patrick Ring has checked in. What's up, man? Welcome. Happy Michael Myers Monday. Another one of our illustrious Halloween Daily Club channel members. Did I say it's just $5 a month? Who else is in here tonight? Brad has checked in as well. Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us this evening. Now, you guys, I know, already have the chias, but are you getting one to keep in the box and then one to actually grow and display as a with the grown hair? Because if I'm doing it, I got to document the whole thing, even if it's a failure. That's going to be, hopefully, that'll make for some funny content at least. I don't know. It might make for just some depressing content. I don't know. We'll see. Darlene needs that chia. Yeah, you do. You got to get it. Vibes. That's awesome. Thank you. Yep. Yep. Again, it was one of the things at the top of my list. So I'm glad. I'm glad the family came through. They always do, though. Let's see. That's funny. Singing the Chia song. Yeah, you guys know the commercials. Some of you do, anyway. Okay, there we go, guys. Look who it is. Special celebrity guest popping into the live chat this evening. This is the illustrious Oscar-winning special effects makeup artist extraordinaire, Michael Myers mask creator for the most recent trilogy of films, and we like to call him a friend of HDN as well, Mr. Christopher Nelson. Welcome, Christopher. I know you are busy, and I really do appreciate you popping in to say hello this evening. You do need a Chia Myers. Everybody needs a Chia Myers, I think. And then we all need to like keep each other updated on growing them, because again, it's supposed to be super easy. But as somebody who never grows anything and can't even keep a plant going or keep a plant watered, is it really going to be that easy for me? I don't know. You guys tell me. We're going to find out together, I guess. Or maybe I'll just keep him in the box forever. I don't know. We'll pull him out in 5 years and try it then. I don't know. I haven't decided. Let's see here. Jason Yost has checked in. Thank you for joining us. Yes, Happy New Year, Christopher. Hope you are doing well, sir. Yes, we are going to be talking about some of Christopher's amazing work. I'm not saying this because he's here right now. Is already on the playlist for tonight, of course, when we're talking about the 4K deleted scenes, because some of those 6 deleted scenes, 2 in particular, are really beautiful showcases of some of Christopher and his team's work, which I love. And we're going to get to that in just a minute. Real quick, though, I do want to plug my most recent interview. If you guys haven't checked it out, we premiered a clip last week with Michelle Dawson from Halloween Ends. She plays Nurse Deb. You'll remember her death scene with James Jude Courtney. It's like a tribute to the Bob scene, and it's Michael and Corey doing their thing with Dr. Mathis and Nurse Deb. Had a great time talking to her recently, and that interview premiered just under a month ago. It was our final interview of 2022, and I look forward to bringing you guys a bunch more exciting, exclusive new interviews in 2023. We're already working on lining up a couple now as we speak that I think you guys are going to be excited for. Let's see. Yes, everybody. That's right. See, Christopher, we love you here. We love your work, man. These films have been a gift. I say it all the time that we underestimate how special these last 4 years have been for this fandom. And now moving into 5 years now, because here we are, it's a new year. It's the 45th anniversary of this franchise. And we've talked just a little bit about the fact that we know there's going to be a 45th anniversary event coming, and there's going to be re-releases of various films and all that. But this has been just the most amazing time to be a fan of all this stuff, with 3 films within 4 years from the same creative team, the same director. That in itself is history for this franchise, and it's there's just been so much put in there, just layer upon layer, that we can chew on for many years to come. And not the least of which is Halloween Ends, which is something that I did just rewatch. You guys would be interested to know. You might probably are surprised at this, because some of you guys have seen it 3, 4, 5, 10 times by now. when this arrived last week, it was officially released, the physical media, on Tuesday, December 27th, of course. I saw all the reports on social media that they were at Walmarts across the country a week early. You know, I don't know what happened there, but a lot of people got their hands on it before the holidays, which is cool. Um, this one arrived in the mail. Again, I got to give a shout out Universal Home Entertainment. They hooked it up. They didn't have to do this. They're not paying me to say nice things about this. They're also not requiring me to state that they're not paying me. Some studios do. Warner Brothers actually has me. I have to state that in every review from Warner Brothers. But anyway, it should go without saying. You guys already know how I feel about the film itself. I've already written my review and done that. What we're going to talk about tonight, primarily, though, is this actual release. Many of you have already watched all the bonus features. You probably watched it on digital before the physical release came out. I didn't get the digital. I was waiting to get my hands on the physical. The collector in me needs it, and just the old school, movie, DVD, VHS, Blu-ray collector. I just gotta have it. Plus, I've got the other two most recent on the 4K. That's what we are going to be spending the majority of the rest of this evening's live stream breaking into. I'm trying to show that the cover is embossed a little bit, which I appreciate. The slipcase is, you can see that Myers is, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm trying to show that a little bit. Okay, so again, you guys have read my actual review of the film itself, hopefully by now. If you haven't, it's up at HalloweenDailyNews.com. It's also got a link down in the description of this video. I also have links down there to all of our recent Halloween Ends cast interviews, as well as our interview with the co-writer, Paul Brad Logan, and those cast interviews that includes our most recent conversation from October with the man himself, James Jude Courtney. Like I said, Michelle Dawson, who played Nurse Deb, and many other awesome cast members. Lydia Han, who is Andy's stunt double as Allison as well. So be sure to check those out if you haven't already. Links are down below. What we're going to do now, I'm going to take a breath and check in one more time here in the live chat, and then we're going to start breaking down what I got from the deleted scenes here, which I actually liked all of the deleted scenes. So you guys start chiming in and let me know your thoughts on if you own the physical release. Do you own the Blu-ray, the 4K? What do you think of the deleted scenes? And I'm going to pull up a still from one of them. We're not going to watch the scenes here because that would Universal would not like that. But I will pull up a still that we can look at as we're discussing kind of one by one. Christopher says, I think it's great. Halloween brings so much happiness to people. And Halloween Daily News brings fans together as a community. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, and we have an awesome community here, I have to say. It might not be the most gigantic YouTube live community on the entire internet, but damn, we've got the coolest community here, I have to say. Yes, I'm playing favorites, but I can do that. All right, let's go over and find a still from this first deleted scene. And this is the one you guys will remember from a few weeks back when Universal was releasing a lot of these snippets from the bonus features. We even got to premiere one. And what we got here, I'll go over here. That's a little bit not what I wanted to show you. Let me see if I can go back a tiny bit. This, what we're looking at, is just, that's a little bit dark for you guys, I know, but let me try to get a better scene. This is the Michael Shakes Things Up extended scene that is really an alternate version uh, Corey's first meeting with Michael in the cave. And what I really like about this scene and kind of prefer about this version, it has Michael kind of roughing up Corey a little bit here, right in the beginning a little bit, but then um, Corey kind of makes a run for it, and we saw the first half of this a few weeks ago. We talked about it. It was released on Universal's official channel, and but what we didn't see was this part after Corey falls down into this pit within the cave, and it is revealed once and for all, not just hinted at, but definitely um, revealed here that Michael has been getting busy with the business of killing throughout these last 4 years. Now, I think we all kind of assumed that was going on, and it's definitely hinted. And then you do see the missing girl billboard at a certain point, which certainly lends to that. And there's the vagabond's statement. I'm still in the process of reading Paul Brad Logan's novelization, which is really going more in to a lot of those details. But what I love about this is that this doesn't leave it to the imagination. This um, that lets us know right off the bat. And there you go. You can see some quick glimpses of some skeletons, some corpses. So Michael's been doing his thing. Corey knows it instantly, and I wish that this scene had been left in. Honestly, I think all of 6 of these deleted scenes, in my opinion, are really worth keeping. And I was wondering, well, maybe the studio or whoever wanted to keep it under a 2-hour runtime, which is understandable. But I did the math, and all 6 of these scenes are not would not even equal it would not push it to 2 hours. I don't believe. Of course, I might be doing my math wrong, but anyway. But again, I like the confirmation that Michael has absolutely been killing. Again, the book is going into some of those details. Like I said, I'm just past page 100 on my read of the novelization. I've got a little sidetracked. It's taking a little time, but I'm right at the part of reading the chapter about Nelson Christopher, a very interesting character, another very scary Halloween killer character introduced in the novel that doesn't really, get his due in the film, and obviously a name inspired by Mr. Nelson here tonight. Christopher says he made lots of skeletons and bodies too for the scene. Yeah, I bet. I imagine there were many more probably stashed throughout that cave that we don't even see. Now, I have to note, I guess this might be the elephant in the room when it comes to deleted scenes. One of the deleted scenes that everybody might be looking for that is not included is the film's original ending. We do know, of course, there was an alternate ending that was originally filmed. When they went back for some additional filming, they shot the processional and so forth. Now, this was the same as with the 2018 film. Same thing. There's another ending that was shot, and maybe one day it will see the light of day, and maybe one day it won't. My opinion, of course it will. Of course it'll see the light of day eventually in some form, some new re-release, whether it's later this year for the 5th anniversary of the 2018 film, or in 5 years from now for the 50th anniversary of everything, or whenever. It'll happen eventually. But that is one of the things, again, going back to my interview with Paul, which again, I really have thought a lot. Like I said, this was only my second rewatch, or my first rewatch, my second watch period of the film. So I've had like months to, I saw it opening night, Thursday night, October 13th, here in the local theater. So I've had, I wrote my review like within days of that viewing, and I've talked about it and thought about it for months, and then I rewatched it, and then I dove into all these bonus features, and in the process, I'm reading Paul's novelization, and also having talked to Paul, a few months ago, and gotten even more insight into how he was writing this as they were shooting. So some of the ideas that were developing on set were going in here. Fascinating stuff all the way around. Now there is some scenes that may not be quite as damn. I wish they were more keeperish than that. Two other ones I definitely would, but again, all six of them, honestly, if it were up to me, I would say keep them in. But that let's see what you guys are saying. Christopher says the missing person billboard picture is one of the producers, Laura. Yes, and that's funny you mentioned that. That is mentioned as well in the commentary track that David Gordon Green does, which is an excellent commentary track. You guys might have heard me kind of bemoaning the fact that I was worried because I love the commentary tracks. I'm speaking of tracks, I'm getting off track, but that's okay. That's how this normally goes. The commentary track has 5 people participating in it, and sometimes when it's that many people, I don't get what I really want to hear, which is all of them talk, but I don't want to hear them talking over each other. Sometimes details get lost, and sometimes it gets less. Not that I want to hear every technical aspect, but I love the director's feature commentary and the writer's feature because kind of the source material and all that. But I say my 4K review, the written version, the article version at HalloweenDailyNews.com, I said that for having what is seemingly a very crowded commentary track, it is remarkably doesn't sound crowded at all. It is mostly David's voice talking, giving the type of information that I'm listening for it and love to hear. But then the other producers, and as well as Andy and Rowan, are on there. They're offering some few but very choice cool side notes and tidbits and anecdotes and stuff. It's good fun commentary. I'll give you some of my highlights in a few minutes, but let's get through these deleted scenes. Christopher loved the first ending. Yeah, I heard that we've heard some things about the first ending. I do believe that of course we all want to see it. What Paul mentioned is that sometimes I think maybe they were hesitant in 2018 to release it because they kind of don't want to cloud the idea that this is the ending, the official ending, and but we all know, us fans, we this is especially with this franchise, it's going to see the light of day eventually in some form, some special re-release, and of course I'll have to own it, and we'll all enjoy seeing it. I have no doubt. Whether or not we'll ever get an alternate cut now, that would be interesting. I'd be all for that too, but let's see here. Darlene, so cool hearing all this info. Yes, Christopher, again, thank you so much, sir, for hanging out and giving us our own added commentary to the deleted scenes. This is perfect. All right, well, speaking of which, let's go to the next one real quick. And again, there's 6 deleted scenes total. This one is called Jones Bunny Slam, and it's not a whole lot to it. It's an extended version of Laurie's confrontation with Corey's mom, and this scene is in the theatrical cut. This one just goes literally just a couple seconds longer, but what it shows is Corey's mom, Joan, slamming one of her little bunny figurines to the ground in anger, and it just really illustrates even more so her simmering rage toward Laurie, and something that that is also discussed in the commentary track, and that I certainly picked up on even more so in my rewatch of the film. What is really sort of Haddonfield's uh, mass victim shaming of Lori in a way. They're all kind of, mad at her, and maybe not entirely unjustifiably so from their point of view, of course. But um, speaking of Joan, Corey's mom, again going back to that amazing novelization, and we're gonna have a couple weeks of Michael Myers Mondays devoted just to that when I'm completely done and ready to give you my full book report on that. But but man, they go into a lot of Corey's history and his mom's twistedness, and yeah, she is just messed up, and a big reason for why he's so messed up. Um, yeah, the novel goes into a lot of fascinating things. So again, this scene, it's not really necessary. I understand why they cut it, but um, again, I don't think it certainly hurts or takes anything away by keeping it in. I wish they had kept it in. All right. Let me pull up the next scene. And you guys feel free to chime in if you're watching this on a replay down in the comments below what your thoughts are on these deleted scenes. Do you think they bring very much to the film, or do you think it's a wise choice to have deleted or not used the extended version of these scenes? As always, I am very thankful and happy when scenes like this are included in these home releases, which are, getting admittedly so, um, they're getting more and more scarce. And that's another reason why I love that there is a feature commentary track here. There's one on the Kills soundtrack. There's not one on the 2018. Maybe there will be. Christopher, some of our watchers have said, some of my friends out there have suggested that a great idea for a commentary track, if anybody at Universal's out there listening for like an anniversary release or something, have maybe Christopher and, I don't know, maybe James Jude Courtney sit down and talk, and maybe do a track of from you guys' point of view. I don't know. I know our audience and our friends would certainly love that. All right, next up is about 30 seconds of a quick little sequence right after Corey and Michael have visited Nurse Deb, played by Michelle Dawson. Check out our interview, and Dr. Mathis. And Corey has rocked his, what I love as his awesome kind of his coming out party. It's his scarecrow mask, man. And Christopher, I love the scarecrow mask. I love the look at it. Love the look of it. And but I talked to Paul. I love the choice too of the classic old school Halloween iconography of their masks being those of Corey and Allison being a scarecrow and a black cat. I think that's beautiful. But the look of them, and all I got to say is, come on, Trick or Treat Studios, where's those scarecrow and black cat masks? Sue and I, my wife and I, we're going to be rocking them every year. But so this scene, Corey reflects upon himself. It's just a few seconds of Corey in the bathroom, and he's kind of on this high. I think I said it in my 4K review. This scene really hits home that after that, what I call the Michael and Corey tag team scene, for lack of a better term, but it is one of my favorite scenes. I told Michelle this. James says it's his favorite kill, because Bob is his favorite all-time kill from the original film, and so this is his favorite kill, his tribute to Bob, and so I love the whole scene. I think it, and on the rewatch especially, this part here is especially brutal as Corey is stabbing away, and this deleted sequence does give us some quick little glimpses of some of that mayhem, and then he's feeling so kind of high and on this newfound high about that, and then you'll see there's some quick glimpses of Allison as well, and his growing almost obsession with her now, and it's all kind of twisting together, and into this what's going to be this epic Halloween night. And by the way, on the rewatch, I mean, come on, I mean, how are you? Maybe it's because I'm the age I am, which is relatively, I think, kind of close to the age of I've said this before, David Gordon Green and Paul Brad Logan, and talking to Paul and hearing some of their 90s film influences, especially when it came to the Allison and Corey love story aspect of this, and there's even almost a Shakespearean Romeo and Juliet element where it's doomed from the beginning, and it's but um, I don't know, but I dug it even more this time around. Like I liked it, and I was rooting for Corey the first time I watched it, but this time I really, I mean, when she says, you know, let's burn it all down, and he says, I'll light the match. I mean, come on. I mean, that. I don't know. I just think that's one of the coolest things we've seen in one of these movies in a while. All right, I'm gonna take a breath and check into the live chat while I queue up the next deleted scene. Christopher, great news, says those masks are coming. I figured they would be, and I don't know if we're gonna get an official announcement this soon, but I know that well, I didn't say it earlier tonight, but the Halloween Party and Expo is coming up in just a few weeks. Usually, Trick or Treat Studios drops their catalog for the year right around that event. So, if and when that happens, of course, we'll be seeing what announcements may come in there. But yeah, fingers crossed that we get those Scarecrow and Black Cat masks this year. That would be amazing. But I do really love those, and I talked to Paul about the choice of those specific masks, and yeah, Christopher, I don't know if you want to add anything about the specific look or design. How much of that was you and your team, and how much of that was David and Paul and the other writers contributing. But I know what he said, that they didn't really debate very much about what they were going to be. They just knew they wanted them to be timeless Halloween symbols, which I think, Scarecrow and Black Cat, again, definitely fits that bill. Yes, Brett says, really enjoyed the feature on the effects on the DVD. And Christopher says, yes, there was a lot cut out. Oh, I'm sure there was. And yes, there are quite a few featurettes included as well, over 30 minutes worth. Um, Much of it has been released in other form on the official YouTube channels and social media, either leading up to the film's release or leading up to this um, home release. But they all do have some stuff that we haven't seen before. One of the things I love, honestly, is hearing Rowan Campbell just speak so enthusiastically about being a part of this whole thing and his take on Corey, because I just we haven't gotten to see very much of that, which I found very interesting. And yes, Christopher is featured quite prominently on many of those featurettes, as should be, and I too appreciate that they took the time to dedicate one specifically to the special effects, and they've got other ones set specifically, about the Laurie Strode character. We premiered about a minute of that one. There's another 8-minute one all about the big final battle, which has some very cool footage of Jamie and James themselves, in there doing their thing, and the importance of this battle, like really, really hitting home. A different threat is the one about Corey mainly, and that one is really good. The Twisted Deaths is awesome, and you actually get to see a little bit more of some of the deaths that happen primarily off screen in the theatrical cut. Again, I know there's going to be other releases down the road that will probably have some of this other footage still to come that we haven't seen. But I'm thankful for these 6 scenes and everything that they've provided so far on this release, because, like I said, it's becoming a more and more rare thing to get almost any bonus content, much less even sometimes, to even get a physical release at all. Like if it's a Netflix release or Disney release, yeah, ain't gonna be no physical release right now. Um, All right. So where was I? Let's go back to the next deleted scene. And now this one, this one is the least. This one I can forgive being removed. Although again, it's 40 seconds, and it's just kind of you know this is already going to be a weird movie. Like it's acknowledged, and David Gordon Green does acknowledge very much that that blue um and that font choice and that blue credit in the opening, absolutely a conscious choice to pay homage to Halloween 3 Season of the Witch, which this being kind of a weird one, as I've said, like many weird ones in this franchise, like Season of the Witch, like The Curse of Michael Myers, a little bit like Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. This one is, they're going to lean into that. And this scene, it's called Ronald's Stuck at Work. And again, it's expendable. It's the most expendable of these six, easily. But I love the character of Ronald. And this just makes him even more likable. The fact that he's lying to Joan, to Corey's mom, saying he's busy at work and won't be home for dinner, and really he's just sitting here with a glass of wine watching Hard Target, and it just makes me like him even more. And again, some of the stuff I'm reading about him in the book, even his gift of the motorcycle to Corey is expanded upon slightly, ever so slightly, in the novelization, and it really just makes Ronald the kind of hapless, stepdad, even more likable and sympathetic, and I'm that much more sad when he's got to go. And being a stepdad myself, hey, love seeing a stepdad who's not the asshole in the family. Yeah, that would be Joe, the mom, in this case. But again, it's the most expendable of these six. Okay, two more. Now these are the two that absolutely I'm just I don't know why they would have cut them. I don't think it would be for a rating, because I think we've seen worse get R ratings. I don't know what they're thinking. This first one though is just a few seconds extended of the character Margot's death, and you guys remember the character Margot. She's played by Joey Harris, and hopefully you've watched my interview with Joey Harris. And in that interview, she did talk a little bit about her original death scene, and that what we saw in the movie was not exactly the way it was originally conceived. And so this deleted scene gives us a much more clear idea of exactly what she was talking about. Now, I love this shot here of I'll call him Corey Myers, right? This is Corey Myers, right? I mean, this has got to be the coolest Corey Myers shot there is, right? But this is what I'm talking about, and this is why I'm glad we've got Christopher in here for this little bit right here, because this is some beautiful work. Let me just try to pull up a still here. Okay, pause and get ready. If you haven't seen it, here's a still of the extended version of Margot's fence stomp to the face. Ah! Yes! And she even says something in this clip, something like, say something, you ugly son of a bitch, or something like that. And it's kind of like the final thing that makes him stomp. Not like he ever wasn't gonna, I don't think. But and she mentioned in our interview, how they did kind of, even with some of her ADR in post, they softened her character a little bit, and she is the one of the four bullies who is more sympathetic to Corey, and kind of, I call her in in my 4K review, she's the bully with a conscience. And Joey kind of previewed that for us when I talked to her. I hadn't seen the movie yet, and she had only just watched the premiere the night before. But very thankful that this is included. This is one of the best of the deleted scenes, and yeah, just a shame that it's not in the theatrical cut. I mean, I don't know why. This is beautiful work here, though. I gotta say, this is awesome. And just disturbing. All right, we're gonna get that off screen now because that's disturbing, and and then we're gonna go to the last one here of the deleted scenes, which is my favorite, and again, just a head scratcher why it was deleted. I'd love to hear the reasoning, um, but again, as I've said, just very thankful that we get to see it here. All right, first of all, what's your thoughts on the Margot Fence stomp extended? Vibes loves the whole Corey Myers sequence. Yeah, the Corey Myers sequence in the junkyard. Oh yeah, yeah, that's one of the best parts of the movie. And again, when I saw it in theater, first viewing, I told you guys I was surprised at how much I liked Corey. You know what I mean? Like, going into the movie, I was prepared not to like this character, not really knowing, but I don't know. I was just able to get with it, I guess, and just say, all right, we're gonna go for a ride with this guy. He's who we're taking this ride with in this movie. And again, I'm going a little bit out of sequence, but I want to talk about the commentary. So we're talking about the commentary throughout all of this, and it's talked about. Hugo Garza, one of the producers, is on that commentary, and he's kind of the other highlight of this commentary for me, along with David Gordon Green. But Hugo points out a lot of very interesting things throughout that commentary track. Very interesting things. Some things that I had kind of thought about on my own, other things that it's like, very interesting and I didn't contemplate, and now it has me thinking even more. But one example, and I think other people may have talked about this, I don't know, but this is certainly one of the coolest scenes in the film. Again, I'm getting a little bit out of sequence here. We got one more deleted scene, but just something to ponder out there. The scene when Corey, is at the Allen house. He wakes up. Laurie's there. She's sitting in the chair, banging on the wall in the chair. She's holding a paper plane. And, they have this really cool, really serious exchange, ending with him kind of saying, just let her go if I can't have her. And then he looks over there and she's gone. And the chair's there and it's leaning against the wall. And I think it's such a cool scene because it is left very much open. If you look about it, and this is acknowledged by everybody involved in the commentary track, it's very purposely left open, and I appreciate that because on one hand we could totally see that okay, Laurie did a total Michael Myers style disappearance right there, which we can kind of see this Laurie could do conceivably, right? That's kind of cool. They are a little bit connected that way in a way, and she kind of did that a little bit in 2018. On the other hand, it could totally be read that entire conversation happened inside Corey's head, and Laurie was actually never sitting there at all. It just makes it even that much more interesting and maybe even confusing when you consider that when we see Laurie a little bit later, a few minutes later, and she's back at her house, I think talking to Allison, I noticed, and I did not notice this part the first time I watched it, but I noticed on this rewatch, she's holding a paper airplane again. Going back to Jeremy and the paper airplanes in the beginning, and so just really really interesting, and it's even mentioned at one point in the commentary the idea that if you wanted to, you could probably track the whole movie and say that maybe the whole thing is being told by Corey, like through Corey's eyes and his interpretation. And if that's the case, and if that scene with Lori was in his head, well, then you kind of got to replay some of the other stuff and question exactly what was really going on there, and maybe wasn't. Um, this is why, and some of you guys, some of our viewers, some of our friends out there have said in as many words that this film, and I believe it's true more so than ever now, it is ripe for dissection, discussion, um, for many rewatches to come. And that's one of the things I rank highest when I'm just looking at films nowadays. The older I get, the more precious I get with my hours and my viewing hours especially. And I'm like, if I'm gonna rewatch something for the 100th time or the second or third time, either way, you know it's got to be worth it. I feel like the older I get, that the more that counts, if that makes sense. And But this one, it's loaded with rewatchability value. Okay, final deleted scene, and then we'll move on to a few other highlights in the commentary track. Um, this other deleted scene is it's called Joan's Recipe for Disaster, and we got the build up to it in the actual movie. Um, Again, it's Corey. He's feeling his high, doing the whole Corey Myers bit at the junkyard, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm riding high on this. Yeah, there's somebody else. I need some attention, some Corey Myers attention." He goes to his mom's house. Now, again, the book has already prefaced what a monster his mom was and how she really abused him and probably more mentally than physically, but um, just was really kind of a monster. And she's obsessed with these little bunny figurines, by the way, too. They're all over, and that's talked about quite a lot in the book and delved into in great detail in the novelization. And so when she slams one of them in that deleted sequence earlier, after talking to Lori out of frustration and rage, that's a big deal because that's kind of one of the things she loves. And this is a big deal when all of them get destroyed in this epic death scene, which, again, it's mind-boggling why it was cut out, because we know it happens. It's a great build-up. Corey opens the drawer and gets the knife. It's reminiscent homage straight out of '78 and young Michael doing it, and very fitting that was young Michael doing it in the kitchen to kill his sister. Where this is a Corey Myers, kind of a young Myers, doing it not to kill his sister, but his mom. Lots of parallels as always in this whole trilogy. I love all the parallels and the homages and the shout outs. But this sequence goes on, and as Corey stalks his mom, there's trick-or-treaters outside, and you hear them singing that familiar jingle, the very first thing you hear from the opening of the '78 film. So there's that happening outside. And then when the door doesn't get answered because Joan ain't getting up to get it, and Ronald's at work watching Hard Target, and well, now he's actually dead, but and Corey's getting down as Myers. The kids are getting rowdy outside. So as the stabbing and the stabbing and the stabbing commences, the kids commence to smashing pumpkins and throwing toilet paper and just other general All Hallows mayhem outside of Joan's house. This is a violent, intense scene. It's a character that I don't think watching the movie alone we despise her as much as we should. Having, again, reading the novelization now, yes, she has this coming, and it's a character kind of getting her twisted justice, which Christopher and others on the DVD and Blu-ray on the disc bonus features discuss that each of Corey's kills are, in fact, while Michael is notoriously random and also almost supernaturally precise with a wicked sense of humor, Corey's kills are not random. They are planned. They are all have a twisted sense of justice to them, at least in his mind. And if we're on his side, which a lot of this film is, at least I am watching it, you know, there is some twisted justice to this. Of course, his kills though are not supernaturally precise. In fact, the opposite. They're very sloppy. They're very messy. And Christopher talks about that in the featurette. Um, and I love the contrast. I love seeing somebody trying to kind of do their best Myers, but acting more out of rage rather than the classic Myers pure evil. Um, so this is just a great scene, if you ask me. And the icing on the cake is that it is loaded with Hallosphere, that almighty Halloween atmosphere that I'm always looking for. It's loaded with it, with the kids outside, and they're singing the song, and they're trick or treating, and then they're smashing pumpkins, and they're chanting candy, candy, candy. Oh my god, it's great! It's great. So that's my favorite of the 6 deleted scenes and the most inexcusable to be removed. But thankfully, we can at least watch it now, and you can edit your own extended cut as some of you will, I'm sure. All right, I'm gonna take a breath for a minute and turn back over here to the live chat. Vibe says that's top tier gore right there. Yeah, hell yeah. Byron's reading the novel too, and it's amazing. Yes, it is. Like I said, I'm probably not even a third of the way done. I've told you guys I'm a slow reader, and I'm not reading like every single day. I've had to take some extended breaks. I'm trying to get back into it, but yeah, like I said, I'm in that Nelson Christopher chapter now, which is wild, and I love, and Paul prepared me that he was going to do some of these flashbacks that we're getting, like flashbacks to previous Halloween killings in Haddonfield, previous Halloweens in Russellville, previous Halloweens even at Smith's Grove. I love that. I totally love that. Rob, thank you for the compliment on the hat. Thank you, sir. Andromeda checking in. What's up? Drive safe, please. I know we're going to have you laughing so hard you'll be practically driving off the road, but hopefully not. No, drive safe. What do you guys think? When Corey says if he can't have her, no one will, that's really Michael talking about Lori. I like that. I like that a lot. I think there's so many parallels. I think when David Gordon Green says in the featurettes and in the commentary that this is a love story, I think that's very true. I think it's multiple love stories. There's definitely the Corey and Allison love story. There's a Corey and Michael love story going on there. I think there's, in a way, an Allison and Lori love story, and that one ends, with them going their separate ways for the time being. I don't think it means they're never gonna, be around each other or anything. I think, I'm happy for Allison that she's getting out of there, honestly, and I'm thrilled for Lori that her love story with Frank hopefully will finally be realized. What a long time that's been coming for Frank anyway. I mean, unrequited love there. Very happy for them. But it is a tragic movie. Make no mistake about it. There's no way to look at how it ends and not say that that's not a tragedy and a tragic ending. I mean, yes, the good guys for the most part survive the night. You know what I mean? And the bad guys, it appears for now, you know, did not. But at huge cost, though, at huge cost for sure. And you gotta love that final bit in her book about evil changing shape. It doesn't die, it just changes shape. The final shot, even the final still. As David Gordon Green says, those tableaus at the end of the film. Of course, that is an echo and a tribute to how the original 78 ends. But as David Gordon Green says at the end of his commentary, where once there was breeding and continuation during those original tableaus, now there is silence. But with a curious mask sitting out right there on the table in the center of the screen in the very last shot of the film. And then, of course, a familiar song, Don't Fear the Reaper. Which almost made me tear up and get emotional when that song came on in the theater first viewing. I love it. Perfect choice for the ending. Um, all right, I'm gonna hit on just a couple other commentary points here. Let me see what you guys are saying in the live chat, though. Byron says, "What if Allison's going to Santa Mira or Russellville?" I think that would be awesome. Sure, why not? Rob says the book kicks ass. Love the book. Movie is 5 out of 10, but book could have improved the movie 10 times, I think. Nice. Well, the book, I mean, it definitely is already, just informed so much already, just in like the first 100 or so pages that I've read. So much more just about where Corey's coming from, what Allison has been up to, just all of them. And again, you're even getting into smaller characters that you don't get as much of. I love that in the book, Allison, when you first see her at the Haddonfield Memorial Clinic, which I incorrectly said in my original review, she's working at the hospital, Haddonfield Memorial Hospital. It is the clinic. It's not technically the hospital. I got that wrong. I wasn't clear, but that was after one viewing. Anyway, the first person in the book she's treating is Julian, from 2018, and then again from Kills, and then again from the procession in this film, our buddy Jabral Nantambu. Never forget that Jabral gave us the exclusive. Told Sue Arts in 2019, prior to the filming of Kills or Ends, but he told HDN at Scares That Care Charity Weekend, on the record, he said he was going to be in the next two. He said he was going to be in Kills and Ends, and he said he would not die. And I don't know how he knew it. I don't know that he even did know it at the time. But, hey, credit where credit's due. He was 100% right. His words proved true. And yeah, I'll call that an exclusive that we broke like 3 years ago anytime. Brett says maybe she can meet up with Eddie Lee's family. That's funny. Well, again, the book going into so many of the other just interesting characters of Haddonfield and other killers, in fact. Nelson Christopher. David Suber checking in. Hey, better late than never, man. Happy Triple M. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I think, and again, these are just some added thoughts I had about the film itself on my rewatch. And then I'll just pull up a couple interesting tidbits about the commentary track that maybe we haven't mentioned. But the movie does hit on an idea that has kind of floated around on like the outskirts of each of these movies, that the evil could be transferred in a way. Maybe that's not the right word, but this has been played with a little bit at the end of Halloween 4. The idea of maybe when Jamie Lloyd touches Uncle Michael's skin, something kind of transfers to her and causes her to kill her mom, her stepmom. But these are this movie really kind of delivers on that in a way, that idea, and it does it in a way. It's almost like, let's take some of these supernatural ideas about Michael and adapt it in like the most I don't know, in a very grounded kind of way. Like, how would that evil literally spread infectiously, without making it hokey or making like a green mist float out of Michael's body into Corey's. Like, how could we tell this? And that's kind of what I picked up on even more so in this rewatch, is that that's what David and Paul wanted to explore as far as the shape in this interpretation. And I know a lot of people say, oh, well, there's so little Michael in it, and David Gordon Green, again, in that commentary track, he fully acknowledges that that's the biggest swing of the movie. Even bigger than having the Corey character itself. The biggest risk of the whole movie was having such a long time without Michael in it. So they knew that. But if you add up his total minutes that he's on the screen, I think it's still going to be pretty comparable to the total minutes he's on screen in the original '78 film. Honestly, I don't think he's on the screen that much more in that one. And and after you see him in the beginning, you don't see him, fully. You don't see that mask fully ever, really, like for more than a half a second until he gets on the phone after killing Linda and has kind of that extended scene with Laurie on the phone, and that's when the camera lingers for the first time in that film, and you really can look at the mask. Anyway, I forgot why I started that, but anyway, the big risk of keeping Michael out of it, but and the book makes this clear too about how Michael is such a presence already, and a lot of that is with the DJ Willie the Kid, who is very much, and Green acknowledges this, but yeah, he's absolutely the Adrian Barbeau, Stevie Wayne DJ character from John Carpenter's The Fog. In fact, David Gordon Green sees this film, and he wanted this film to be very reflective of Carpenter's full body of work, more than just the original Halloween. And he wanted this film to be, to Carpenter, what he describes how Stranger Things is to Spielberg, and really wears that Spielbergian influence, on its shoulder right out front. That's what they wanted to do here. Hence the Fog references with the DJ. Obviously the Christine references, which were kind of, mentioned in very early interviews, very early on about this interview. And you can see that reflected in a couple of different ways, whether it's, seeing Michael as Christine, which I think in a way it is, the mask itself as the car in a way, it kind of works that. And then just more thematically as opposed to being exact. And then even some literal stuff, like with the junkyard and stuff like that. That ties in as well. So, but being a massive Carpenter fan, I love all of that. A few other things that Green mentioned in that commentary track that I liked. The upbeat music that is playing in the beginning. And again, there's a whole lot more of Willie the Kid in the novelization, a whole lot more about what he's talking about. In fact, I just read a section where Willie the Kid is floating this theory and really kind of giving voice to one of the conspiracy theories around Haddonfield and probably around other parts of the country, that there's a cult operating down in the hell caves, they call them, underground of Haddonfield, a cult of Samhain. I know it's pronounced Samhain, a cult of Samhain, and they worship Michael Myers or some dark entity, the shape, and sometimes it's the boogeyman that actually goes out, and sometimes it's somebody else that is like some kind of sacrifice, and Willie the Kid is giving voice to that throughout the years of him being there, and that's a constant thing in everybody's ear. And then like Joan tells Laurie in the theatrical cut, at one point, when her boogeyman disappeared for all intents and purposes out of the public eye anyway, they had to find a new one, and so a lot of the family people who were fearing the return of the boogeyman placed that fear on Corey, even though he was found not guilty in the trial. All right. Byron asked how I would feel if we didn't get Corey and instead Michael passed on the evil to Allison, or have Michael pass it to Corey, then Corey passes it on to Allison. I think the only way to really, I guess they could have attempted to tell the story and reversed everything and had Allison kind of be the protege killer, new shape type thing. I don't know. I think all of that is still kind of, the door's a little bit open, and I guess I wouldn't have a problem with it. I wouldn't have a problem with anything if it's done correctly. Again, that would echo some things that were maybe hinted at the end of Halloween 4, but knowing just what I know from what I'm reading in the book, from what I learned from talking to Paul, from what I learned from these bonus features and the director commentary and these interviews we've read, yeah, I think it was a conscious choice to bring this outside character in to try to introduce something new here that had never been done, and through that character have these characters learn what they need to learn in this chapter about themselves, about Michael, and all that stuff. And as far as the overall mythology of the franchise, which is so it's choose your own adventure as it is. In this adventure, I think it does pay off some questions that a lot of us have wondered and questioned before. Well, maybe could if you could get that mask from him, would it give you some kind of invincible power? I love the scene in the Amazing Spider-Man too, if you remember, when Spider-Man, it's Andrew Garfield and he's trying to rescue the kid from the burning car and the kid's got to climb and he's scared and everything's on, and then he gives him his mask. Remember that? He takes off his mask, hands the kid, put on the mask. It'll give you superpowers. One of the best scenes ever, right? And it doesn't give the kid superpowers literally, but in his head it does, and that's all that matters. And he does what needs to be done. Anyway, you guys know what I'm saying, I think. Yeah, it's getting late, so I'm starting to get a little rambly. So we'll be wrapping it up before too long, before I get too rambly. But let me just hit on a couple other quick points about the commentary track that I did make note of. And that I wanted to make sure that we've talked about, just in case you haven't read the 4K review. The opening pumpkins. I think Christopher is probably clocked out and gone to bed. But I would love to hear about the creation of the opening pumpkins this time, because what David explains is, they all symbolize different things. The last time it was one pumpkin for every film up to that point, 12 of them. Well, this time with it being a pumpkin and then another one coming up from inside of it and it opening up and a new one coming out, it's basically symbolizing what is evolving in Haddonfield and what Haddonfield is evolving into. And so if you watch, the pumpkins get a little more angry, a little more evil looking as it goes and goes and goes until the last one. It's an uncarved pumpkin, and that's the one that just rips open kind of H281 style. And it's pumpkin guts, but it's also bloody and kind of human guts at the same time in a twisted mix of both, which I thought is really effective. Another interesting tidbit that I learned in the commentary track that I didn't pick up on, you see that montage in the opening of the film during Laurie's narration, and you see a woman hanging outside of a house. And she's got some devil horns that kind of remind us maybe of Oscar and his tragic fence death. Well, that is, in fact, Oscar's mom, played by the same actress who played his mom in Halloween Kills. You remember you saw her in the hospital scene in Halloween Kills? Well, in the time since, at some point over those 4 years since, she took her own life by hanging herself while wearing Oscar's devil costume. Of course, that devil costume, an Easter egg in itself to Halloween 5 and our friend Tamara Glenn and her character Samantha's iconic sexy devil costume. It was echoed again in this most recent film. Nurse Deb rocked her own version of a sexy devil costume this time. So, a lot of history with the devil costume in this franchise, to say the least. Oh, another interesting thing. Hugo Garza, producer, says he makes the comment that in his mind in Haddonfield, people in Haddonfield say to your face what people in most other towns would say on social media. So that's kind of the scene when Laurie's coming out of the supermarket and our friend Diva Tyler is revealed to still be living, but she can't talk anymore. And her sister is there really, pissed at Laurie and kind of rains on her parade and ruins her nice day. She was flirting with Frank inside. And, I love that scene. I think it's really powerful and really awesome to see our friend Diva back in it again, just like Julian, one of our friends who amazingly appeared and survived all three of these films. Pretty awesome. Um, but that's not originally what it was going to be. Originally, that was supposed to be Sheriff Barker, played by Omar J. Dorsey. That was supposed to be Sheriff Barker there in the wheelchair, who is now just so mentally messed up since the events of the last two movies that he's confined to a wheelchair, and that would have been his wife kind of chastising Laurie there. He was busy shooting something else at the time they were shooting that scene, so they made some changes and got Diva back in there. Of course, he does reprise the role of Sheriff Barker later on in the film during the procession. So I found that pretty interesting as well, because that was a surprise to me to see her and to see Julian back in it. But I really love those touches of bringing them back in. That hit me almost as much as seeing when it pans up from Karen's handprint saying "I'll take care of you, mommy," and then it pans up and you see the shot of high school Laurie with Linda and Annie. Yeah, good emotional punch right there. Oh, and Allison and Corey's dance that they do at the Halloween party, that is actually, if you watch it, their dance that they're doing, according to the commentary, it's very much choreographed by Paul to be a metaphor for their entire story throughout this movie, leading right up to and including ending their tragic ending with Allison standing over Corey. Watch the dance scene again. It's all there. It's pretty wild. Of course, a lot of you have picked up on this already, but it is acknowledged in that commentary that Allison leading Corey up the stairs, have sex in her upstairs bedroom in Laurie's house as Laurie silently, somewhat creepily watches on, is absolutely an homage to Judith leading her boyfriend Steve up the stairs of the Myers house to have sex, as young Michael, age 6, silently looks on as well, before going in there and killing her. It's also really interesting, I found, pay attention to Corey's falls throughout the movie. Hugo Garza explains in the commentary track that you could actually track the evolution of Corey's character through 4 falls from high places while he's around throughout the movie. The first one, of course, being Jeremy Allen's tragic fall to his death in the beginning. It's an accidental fall. Corey is there, and of course it changes him forever. The next one is when the bullies are bullying him at the missing girl billboard on the bridge, and he falls from there. Again, kind of an accidental fall, but this one changes him even further because now he stumbles into the cave. Well, he doesn't stumble into the cave, but now he is dragged into the cave and he meets the boogeyman and they have their eye-to-eye moment. And yeah, now he's changed forever. The next fall, now he's changed forever. He's a killer. He's a lover. He is living life to the fullest, right? This is a whole new Corey, right? Whole new Corey, and he's at his favorite kind of thinking spot, favorite kind of inspiration spot on the roof of the radio station. Yes, very ironic. That's his favorite spot, but yet he hates the DJ. It's spelled out in the book that he really hates DJ because DJ talks a lot of shit about him as much as he does about Michael Myers, and so he really doesn't like him. But they all listen to him, even though they hate him. Ironic there, but only radio station that comes in Haddonfield. I'm guessing probably don't have good Wi-Fi, so maybe not good Spotify there in Haddonfield. I'm guessing maybe makes sense to me. In any case, that's the third fall where it's kind of a on purpose fall, kind of a carefree, not really a jump, kind of a carefree fall off. And at this point, yeah, he's a totally different person than he was in the beginning when he shows up at the Allen's house to babysit. He's totally different. He's carefree. He's like, again, he's living life in a certain respect to its fullest. He's a killer and a lover. He is like on the height of Corey-dom right now. Okay, and then of course the last fall, the final fall, the fourth fall at Laurie's house after he comes in doing his Corey Myers thing, and she shoots him. he falls off the stairs, and that's the last fall. So I found that very interesting. Again, something I did not pick up on either of the first two viewings. The fact that wow, there four falls, pretty evenly spaced out throughout the film, pretty marking each act almost, each stage in story in story, each stage in Corey's story. Yeah, in the story, Corey. Yeah, you know what I mean. Oh yeah, and this I found fascinating too. The call when Corey calls Allison late in the movie, and he's telling her we have to go, we have to leave town, and I think she says we can't go now, but meet at the diner or something, and then he doesn't show up, and it's all part of the tragedy. Well, David Gordon Green um, and Hugo Garza, they acknowledge in the commentary track that that particular call, the sound of Corey's voice coming through on the call to make it extra kind of disturbing and scary, the inspiration was Black Christmas, the original Bob Clark Black Christmas. The 1974 horror classic, greatest Christmas horror movie ever. Direct influence to John Carpenter's Halloween, one of the greatest horror movies ever made. Just one of the greatest movies ever made, period. And that killer's calls, that is the champion of creepy killer phone calls of all time. And so I found that fascinating. That movie, such a piece of genre history, holiday genre history, that so much influenced the style and look and just everything about Halloween itself, the original '78. That influence comes back in here in such a subtle but you know very interesting and fitting way in a way. That they wanted him to sound kind of like that killer calling Allison saying we have to go, we have to go, we have to go. So that's just a little bit of what I found to be interesting in the commentary track on my rewatch. There's tons more. Again, I've just barely even touched on what was discussed in the 6 different featurettes included, and then there's also a gag reel. That's pretty funny as well. It's pretty funny to anytime you see or I see or hear James Hugh Courtney speak his voice while wearing the Michael Myers mask, which at one point you see Jamie Lee Curtis kind of, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, James." I can say, "Oh, that's all right," but it's coming out of Michael's. It's just like, "Oh, my brain is exploding," and I love the bloopers and the behind the scenes, but I don't even know what to think when I see that. But it is funny. It's hilarious actually. All right, I'm going to turn back over here into the live stream, into the live chat. Excuse me for just a few minutes. Let's see. Byron says the more he reads, the novel, more inspiration he's getting for the trilogy with Allison. Yep. Sounds good. Evil changes shape. That's right. Red Hot Devil. There you go, Sammy. You know it. Hell yeah. Larry Moore is checked in. Happy Michael Myers Monday, man. Welcome. John Capp is here as well. If they filmed the way the novel played out, a lot more people. Oh, yeah. Well, I've been talking about that. I'm not even done reading the novel. But yeah, there's so much more in the novel. And it gives so much more depth and understanding, too, to where Corey's mindset is when this started, where Allison's is. But again, I predict, I guess, kind of in closing, for now anyway, for tonight. Won't be done talking about this movie for a long time. But in closing for now, and I think I said this kind of in my initial review back in mid-October, And I still kind of feel this way. I do feel that this film, as divisive as it may be, as many people as it, may not be happy with it right now, I do truly, honestly believe that Halloween Ends over the years will be actually a fan favorite, much like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch is now. I I I do think that. I think it'll be one. I think the Corey Cunningham character is a good addition to the franchise. I think he's surprising, maybe a little shocking, takes some getting used to, maybe, but I do ultimately think that in the years and even decades to come, you know, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, I think Corey Cunningham will fall much more firmly in the category of beloved Halloween franchise characters like Jamie Lloyd, for example, um, as opposed to characters maybe not quite as beloved. I'm thinking of additions maybe like the Man in Black from Halloween 5 and Curse. I think Corey's a lot more on the Jamie Lloyd side than the Man in Black side. I think he's going to be a character we're going to remember. I think a lot of that um, has to do with Rowan's performance, and I don't know. Like I've said, for me, I mean, there's just certain things I kind of just feel that, um, just style wise, they did with this character. Kind of the leather jacket, motorcycle, messy hair, rebel without a cause. Type character that just kind of hits some of us the right way, I guess. And I see John's comment about can't defend the movie because don't like how they treated Myers' character and all that. I get the shock and not wanting to see Michael in a weakened state or any of that, but again I think again, I'm not getting paid by Universal to say nice things about this. They sent me this, but I could, I'm under no obligation whatsoever. My opinions are my own. Make no mistake. So I'm not here to convince you, to like something you don't like. That's not. But I will just say that, I think these. I think it's you have to adjust your going into it. You know what I mean? Like you can't watch Halloween 3 expecting a straight up sequel to Halloween 2. If you want that, you need to skip to Halloween 4. But if you adjust your thinking and you want a cool Halloween time movie with some cool references to these other characters and these other movies you love, and but it's just kind of its own thing, this is kind of like that in a way. A little bit like that. Only not as much. Because it is so firmly tied to these most recent two films. And I would even argue to the 78. You've got a 4-film story right here, and it is tight. And yeah, I mean, Corey will be debated forever. We've said this, and that's part of the fun. Having these conversations. You don't have to like the character. Other people can love the character. But no, I look forward to getting that scarecrow mask and rocking it with my jumpsuit every now and then. Um, you know, rotating it along in with my mask, which by the way, that mask could kind of double as a Corey Myers mask too, I would say. But yeah, I think it's going to be the new couple's costume, right? I mean, I know me and my wife, me and Sue, I can't wait to be Allison and Corey. That'll be awesome. But yeah, I think they're a modern day horror version of Romeo and Juliet in a lot of ways. And I think it's fun to watch, and I think it's tragic to watch how it ends. It's painful, and again, back on the absence of Michael or the weakness of Michael. But is he really though? Again, this is the same character that did all that damage 4 years ago, and I don't know. I sometimes I feel like some of the people that are upset about Michael not being, strong enough to fend off Corey in this film are sometimes some of the same people that were like, well, how could a 60-year-old man, 61-year-old man defeat the whole town like this and all the firefighters and everything? Well, I just always kind of take it as the evil itself is what's ebbing and flowing between them. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I don't know if I'm describing it the best way of how I see it, but And again, this is just my take. This is not something I gained from the commentary or anything. A little bit from my interview with Paul. We talked a tiny bit about this, but I, you know, is Corey really defeating Michael and taking his mask so much, or is it that this this shape of evil, this whatever you want to call it, the evil juice, is it just really strong around the two of them? And Michael, it's been really strong. It built up for 40 years. It exploded in a bloodbath in 2018. You know, it's been kept unchecked for 4 years, and now here's this young vessel, this young kid, this young ball of energy and passion and hate, and maybe it's the evil itself kind of ebbing and flowing to where it might be strongest at a particular moment. I do know that Nurse Deb Dr. Mathis sequence is pretty awesome and legendary for this franchise, and I think it's gonna stand the test of time. Like I told uh, Michelle when I interviewed her. Okay. Here, let's pull up that. All right. Here, you guys talk amongst yourselves for 1 minute. I'll be right back. Talk about this awesome mask. How about that? Yes, Andromeda. Thank you for pointing out Midnight Monsters Hop, the song that opens the film when we hear Willie the Kid on the radio at the very beginning. Yes, I was going to mention that. That was my first note on the commentary track. I got sidetracked talking about Willie the Kid. But yes, Andromeda, you are correct that song suggests that Mike was in the ranks of those legendary monsters. Absolutely. And David Gordon Green actually explains in that commentary track that he it is a very upbeat opening as opposed to the more what would normally be a very traditional, more traditional horror opening of like scary horror moody music instead of this upbeat midnight monster hop. But David Gordon Green says in the beginning of that commentary that he felt it was fitting to open it that way with the antithesis of what is probably going to be expected, precisely because this film is itself so contrarian to so many things that audiences are going to be expecting. Byron gives the novelization 8.5 out of 10 so far. Oh yeah, at least. Um, well, let's see what else we got in here. Byron says, "Will Andy be the face of the franchise moving forward?" I mean, I guess time would tell. I mean, at this point, they're I see no indication that they're going to continue this timeline. But I mean, I would open that to you guys. I mean, do you guys want to see this timeline continue with Allison, maybe, resurrecting the Corey character somehow, or maybe it's somebody killing in scarecrow mask, kind of mimicking Corey or mimicking Michael even, and everybody thinks it's Corey. Maybe it's a whole other person, but then I guess we're venturing a little further into Scream territory. All I know is it would be very daunting, I would think, for any new creative team to come in and continue this creative team's story. Just like it'd be like somebody making a continuation of Rob Zombie's Halloween story now, or even going back and making the continuation to Halloween 4. We've all speculated, well, they could do a requel and set it, just pick up from Halloween 4 40 years later and ignore the other stuff with an adult Jamie Lloyd, played by like Danielle Harris now. We've talked about that, and that could be cool. That could be cool. But I think, it's kind of more daunting, to pick up on somebody else's thing like that, than to just be kind of handed the keys and say, all right, reinvent, do something new that has never been done before in this franchise. So I don't know if that's the way they're gonna go. I don't know if that would be my preference. I mean, could I get with it and be okay with it? Sure, absolutely. I could see a lot of ways how it could be cool to do that. You know, but you guys tell me what you think. I mean, I want to hear your thoughts on all of this. Have you listened to the commentary track? Have you watched all of these scenes that we're talking about? What do you think about my take on any of this? Let me hear your thoughts in the live chat now, in the comments below. We're going to be live for just a few more minutes. Larry says, no lie, Michael almost had Laurie at the end, ripping his hand off. Yeah, if Allison hadn't showed up, I think it was done. Yeah. Saturn says, Andy should come back as a totally different character. What if they just did a whole nother movie? Here's an idea. Like, don't acknowledge anything. Set it in Russellville or Santa Mira, like you said. Have Andy show up at some point, seemingly as another character, and then maybe it's revealed at the very end, she just changed her name or something. Because she seems like she might do that. By the way, when I interviewed Paul, I hate to keep talking about that, but it's a great interview and it pertains to everything we're talking about tonight. I asked him, because I worry about Andy after the end of that movie. Not Andy. I don't worry about Andy. I think she's doing fine. I worry about Allison after the end of that movie. I do. And so I asked him, in his mind, what's Allison doing the next Halloween? 5 Halloweens down the road, 10 Halloweens down the road. And he gave me his thoughts. I'm not going to go into it all now. I like his answer, though. It's pretty hopeful. And essentially that she would, continue probably trying to help people like she was in the clinic kind of instinctively after the events of 2018. But you have to watch the whole interview to hear everything he says. Andromeda says people are going to see more and more in this film. It's actually brilliant. I'm telling you, I agree. I think this is absolutely one of the most layered films in the entire franchise of all 13 films. I think there is a lot going on. I think, again, when I hear the complaints about Myers, I feel like a lot of that is because we're coming 1 year after Halloween Kills, which in David Gordon Green's words, that was his slasher opera. 2018 was kind of the Carpenter homage. Kills was the slasher opera, and Ends was the David Gordon Green film of the bunch, which means some odd choices. Having the high school drumline be the bully gang, that's an odd choice. That's something I've never seen before. You want to talk about surprising choices, and I love it. Because it is weird and odd. how often do we see the bullies and the bully gang always look like the same bully gang? And it's always the older, bigger kids bullying the younger, scrawny kid. Here we have the band geeks bullying a 21-year-old. It's very much the antithesis of what we think. It is like he said, it's very contrarian to everything we're kind of accustomed to seeing in so many ways. And it's almost like an exercise of how different can we be, but yet still fulfill and check those boxes, including this supernatural being of the shape. How could that go on infinitely, immortally, but still be in sort of a grounded way? I think that's what they were aiming for. But I agree with you, Andromeda. I think fans, people like us, even some of the haters, they're going to go back and give it a chance, or maybe they won't, and that's fine too. Like I said, I'm not here to try to tell anybody go study this movie or whatever. But for those that want to enjoy it, and for those that just discover it and haven't even seen these movies, there's always going to be another generation getting into these movies. You got to figure there's an entire generation that are going to watch these three movies as their entry point for this franchise, and they're going to watch it on their phone. You know what I mean? They're going to watch it on their computer, all three of them, and that's going to be their entry point. And maybe it'll inspire them to go back and watch the '78 and maybe some other Carpenter films like Fog, or like The Thing, or like Christine. In which case it's more than done its job there. But yeah, I again, like I think Christopher earlier, I think these films have been a gift, and yeah, are they perfect? Of course not. Are they the greatest thing that ever happened to movies ever? No, they're not. But are they damn good? Hell yes. Are they? Do I think they're great? Am I going to look forward to rewatching them annually? Hell yes. And again, I say it all the time, but this has been, and it's not over. It's but these 4 years have been the best time to be a fan that I've ever been a fan of this stuff. There's been more merch, more just accessibility, more, and then part of that is because we're HDN, yes, and I've been lucky to have access to, some of these people because of that, but really not so much because James and Nick and so many of the people in this franchise, they're out there. Even people, like I talked about Joey and Michelle, and last year you with, Michael Smallwood and Carmela McNeil, and just so many friends we've made within these most recent films. Mr. Nelson, not the least of which, going back to our first conversation in 2018. It's a lot of that has been because they've just been really cool and have been accessible, and maybe appreciate a little bit what we do, and that's why. But yeah, so I've just been really fortunate and lucky to experience some of that, and so I guess what I'm getting at is thank you guys for experiencing it with me. All right. One thing I did want to do before we do shout outs. Many of you may recall that just a few weeks ago we lost our first Michael Myers actor. The great stuntman Jim Winburn passed away recently, and yes, other than Deborah Hill, who played Michael's hands, the first image of any part of Michael Myers ever on screen, she's young Michael's hands, and the hands when he's killing Judith. Other than her, the first man to ever wear the mask and perform as Michael Myers, to have passed away and left us. Amazingly, it is amazing because over 20 of them have done it over the years, and we're lucky that we haven't lost more yet. Knock on wood. But Jim Winburn passed away, and so a few days ago, what we did was from our archives. I figured as kind of as a in memoriam to Mr. Winburn and also as a way to kind of tonight kick off this 45th anniversary celebration of the original 78 film, of the character of Michael Myers himself, and of this entire 13 film, 4.5 decade old franchise that we all love and adore. It'd be fun to go back and actually share the audio from our interview with Jim that took place back in 2018 at the 40 Years of Terror 40th anniversary event in Pasadena that year. Now, we published the interview a few weeks after the event, but as always, when it's an audio recorded interview at these events, which many of ours are and have been, especially prior to doing mostly Zoom style interviews here recently, a lot of the interviews kind of get edited for time and space and whatever. But this one, I listened to it, and I don't think there's anything in there, that is anybody would mind us sharing. And it was all on the record anyway. And so I went ahead and uploaded the audio version of the interview. And now again, there's no video. We weren't doing video at that event at that time. If you haven't listened to it, I'm going to play that for you now while I take a little break and take a breather. It's a few minutes long. It's about 9 minutes. And then we'll come back. We'll do a couple Triple M shout outs and we'll wrap it up for the evening. I know I said it wasn't going to be a long night, and here we are going on 2 hours. That's the way it always goes. It never fails. But this has been awesome. And again, this one, I wanted to in the year special, but also kick off the year special and as always, give you guys here on Monday nights something a little bit special. So here is the audio of our exclusive one-on-one interview with Mr. James Winburn, stuntman who took the fall off of the Wallace House balcony. No, off of the Doyle House balcony in Halloween 1978. Check it out. You were saying how
well, originally Deborah Hill called me.
Okay.
And I was under contract with Warner Brothers.
Okay.
And we were working downtown Los Angeles, slinging cop cars and all that stuff. And I said I didn't know I could get off. Well, anyway, they wrapped us early because they had to move to another location with the actors. So I was released, so I went over to Hollywood on Orange Grove Avenue. And I knew Deborah Hill real well because we worked on many shows before that. And Dean Cunny, the cameraman, and this whole crew, they were great, independent group. And Don Behrens, who was the production manager, we were very close friends. So everybody knew me except John. So it was the first night I met John.
Okay.
And then I met Tommy, and Tommy actually was the production designer, the prop guy, Michael Myers, editor. He was all-around cowboy. He to me was one of the most important people on the show.
Absolutely.
I came in and worked with him all night long, and I did the fall, and I went back to work at Warner Brothers.
So it was just one night?
One night.
In and out?
Yeah.
Did you just, how many times did you have to do it?
One time.
Just one time?
I rigged it to
Just
where...
rigged it up?
Well, see, the balcony railing was higher than the normal balcony because the lady grandchildren or whatever.
Oh, okay.
They didn't want it was too low, so they built it up.
Oh, okay.
Now, even the roof, at the edge of the roof, if you measure it down to the level of the balcony, was 18 inches. So I had to go through 18 inches without hitting my head with the mask, my knee. And John asked me to keep in the function of the character of Michael Myers. Just don't flip all over and all that stuff.
Right.
So we worked it out. I did some pickup shots, and then I did this, and I went over and hit the mat, and everything was great. One shot, and so Dean went upstairs, re-rigged the camera, and shot me laying on the ground. And then we had to move because they had a curfew, 10 o'clock curfew on filming up there.
Oh, okay.
So you had to move all the cars off the street, all the trucks, all the whatever. And we had to be inside, and they had to dim the lights because they couldn't shoot with bright lights because of the moratorium they had.
Oh, okay.
So we went inside, and I followed John to whatever scenes they were doing. I did some pickup shots for him, but mainly the big night was him in the closet
Oh, yeah.
scene, and then they wrapped me, and I went back to Warner Bros.
Wow.
So I was there only one night.
Wow. Wow. And now, 40 years later, can you believe that all this is going on after that one night?
Well, it's hard for me to believe $300,000 film, $300,000 motion picture of that caliber, horror especially, at that time, would outlive everything on shows I worked all over the world with 40 million, 120 million, and nobody can't even remember them.
Right.
And with major actors in them, which I doubled. And I've worked all over the world, and people have come in China and Germany and say, "Are you Wimburn and Michael Myers?" and all that. And I said, "Yeah." And so it was worldwide.
Yes.
For all the years. So 40 years has gone by, and it's still a very successful franchise.
Yeah.
And Deborah Hill was a very close, dear friend of mine, and I talked to her a few months before she passed away.
Really?
And she didn't tell me how sick she was.
Yeah.
And but I've known her almost basically when she came in town looking for a job. And she started working independent as an AD or script girl or whatever on some independent shows, and then she worked. We did about 5, 6, 7 low-budget films.
Okay.
Dean Cunny was the DP on it, so we were all doing pretty good because they were a solid group of filmmakers.
Yeah.
And John really got the best guy in the world because Dean Cunny went to Panasonic and got the latest cameras free because they wanted to show that camera, and Dean did.
Yeah, he showed it off.
And Dean is probably one of the best camera DPs in the business today, worldwide.
Yeah.
And Ray Stella, his operator, has been with him all these years. And I mean, I had no remorse or anything working with these guys because they were professional more than some of the IA guys.
Right.
And that worked at the studio. They all jumped in. It was a small crew. They all jumped in. And as I said, Tommy Lee Wallace was the big pivot all-around cowboy of that show.
Yeah.
And then Dean Cunny and John Carpenter, his idea of what he wanted. And that's what, and Deborah Hill, her philosophy of filmmaking. And the tragic of it all, real quick, was that when it opened on Halloween, it bombed.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody went and saw it for whatever reason. So they put it on the shelf, and I was in New York working with Chevy Chase, and Deborah was a little upset. I think Carpenter was doing the Elvis Presley ABC two episodes with Kurt Russell, and she told John, I think that's what she told me, that the show wasn't doing well, and they pulled it off the market. Well, anyway, there were two DJI radio guys in New York that went off Broadway and saw it in a low theater, and they loved it, so they PR'd the hell out of that show on the radio, and it went, so they reissued it the second time, and it was a great success, and on the first night open for an independent show, over $30 million.
Unbelievable.
And then it's history from then on.
Unbelievable.
And I have to tell you honestly, they did a screening at the Directors Guild for the cast and crew.
Mm-hmm.
I got there late because I was working at Warner Bros. And the only thing I saw was just before I did the fall. I didn't get to see the film.
Oh.
I've never seen any of the films.
Still?
None of the franchise region. Ron Zombie called me basically and wanted me to come to their opening at Grun the Chinese. And I met Tyler Mann, who was Michael Myers. Great guy, good personality. And Ron and I went out on Hollywood Boulevard. There was thousands of people, and they broke through the line to surround us. And Ron took off, and I stood out there, and the cops said, "Come on, you got to go." And I said, "Oh, they want to just take photos. They ain't gonna hurt you."
Yeah.
And then we were out there doing that, and they came and got me and said they're starting the show. And so we went in. They finished the pre-stuff. I was sitting next to the wall on the right side of the screen, and they started the movie. I only saw the first 15 minutes, but when Ron Zombie got to the part where Michael Myers was killing the guard, it went on for 5 minutes because they were selling Ron Zombie's music. I got up and walked out.
Yeah.
And I went outside and was talking to the producers and all the people. Then I went home, and they asked me why I was leaving. I said, "Well, I have to go to work the next day, you know."
Yeah.
I really did because it was the weekend. I just wanted to get out of there.
Yeah.
And but I was under the franchise. It is what it is on the horror factor, but the people loved it.
Yeah.
And Ron Zombie, I made a thing to Ron Zombie before I left. I said, "Your show makes Michael Myers #1 a wimp."
Right.
But if you look at what John Carpenter did, he was an alpha his company.
Oh, yeah,
And he likes
totally.
the mysteries and the suspense and all that stuff. And that's what he put in the film, what makes it a great success, with the young girls and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
It was the first young girls that ever did a TA in a low-budget horror movie.
That's it.
That major.
Yep.
But if you look at it, that was the success of what John, Ideal, and Deborah was amazing.
Awesome.
I was just a tool.
Well, you were awesome in it. You were awesome in it. Thank you so much.
Yes, such an honor to meet and interview Jim Winburn at the 2018 40 Years of Terror event. And again, tonight, right here, this Michael Myers Monday, this officially, that's right, I'm saying it officially for us anyway, kicks off the 45th anniversary year of this whole franchise that we celebrate here so fondly and that we all love and obsess over. And if all goes as planned, you guys know I'm superstitious, don't like to count my eggs before they hatch or anything. It's not like I've, bought a plane ticket or anything yet, but if everything lines up just right and everything goes as planned and hoped, and then we should be at the 45 Years of Terror reunion event happening this fall in Pasadena, California. It's going to be amazing. I know many of you are already planning on going there, and I can't wait to gather with all of you at that. Meanwhile, we have got a lot to talk about this whole year on Michael Myers Monday and just here on the HGN channel in general. One of the fun things that we're going to be doing, we're always interviewing people from this franchise, from these recent movies, from all the films. Longtime readers of HalloweenDailyNews.com might remember that back in 2013, we launched in 2012. We've been celebrating our 10th anniversary year this past year. Well, 10 years ago this year, back in 2013, we started our very first HDN exclusive interviews. And our very first series of interviews was looking back at the Halloween movies. Look, on the occasion of that year's 35th anniversary. So here we are 10 years later on the occasion of this year's 45th anniversary. And so we're going to be doing more of that, more retrospective interviews. But I thought it might be especially fun to maybe go back to some of our friends that we talked to 10 years ago, back in the early days of Halloween Daily News, back in 2013, in these print interviews. And maybe talk to some of them again and maybe bring them back on and do these video interviews that we're doing now And, that was kind of early days of social media in a lot of ways, and some of their convention appearances. Now it's a decade later. And some of these people, some of the ones that we interviewed at that time, again, our friend Tamara Glenn. I say all the time she was actually our very, very first exclusive interview ever published right here on the channel. We talked to Brian Andrews that year. It'd be amazing to chat with him again this year. We talked to Eric Preston, young Michael Myers in Halloween 4. We talked to, who else did we talk to that year? We talked to Caroline Williams, our legend. Of course, in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 in a pretty small role, but man, she's, icon. And I'm not saying that we're going to get these people on here. Of course, I never say anything until it's a done deal. But, I'm just thinking out loud that those are some of the type people that we interviewed a decade ago that maybe it would be cool to try to get back on here and do a follow-up and how have you been in the last decade type thing. So let me know in the comments or here in the live chat tonight who you would most like to see here for an interview. Maybe it's somebody we've talked to before that you'd like to see come back. Maybe it's somebody we haven't talked to. Now, before you go saying Jamie Lee Curtis, Judy Greer, I know. They're on the list. Trust me. We're working on that. But and John Carpenter, of course, he's always at the top of the list. But never forget, I did have the pleasure of interviewing Mr. Carpenter many years ago, and you can find that anytime under the interview section at HalloweenDailyNews.com. It's a great fun interview, and he tells me the real life inspiration from his real life of the character of old Charlie Bowles. That story that the graveyard caretaker is telling Loomis in the original 78 about old Charlie Bowles. Read my interview with Carpenter, and he reveals all. It's pretty fun. And I also always cite that question I asked him, because it's always a question, is Michael Myers supernatural or not? I asked Carpenter straight up, and, I always tell you that he told me he's both. Long story short, he's both. Man and more. Let's see here. Andromeda. Calling out for Rowan. Yeah, Andromeda, I like what you said about the rewatches up here. Where is that quote? Now I lost your... yeah, Andromeda says that she gave the film 1 out of 10 when she first saw it, and now it gets a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, it's all about the rewatches with this one. You guys want to have Rowan on here. I like that suggestion. Hey, I would love to interview Rowan Campbell. But yeah, we'll see what we can do. But yeah, keep firing away your suggestions. If you're watching this on a replay, let us hear your suggestions, requests, and and feel free to tag any of these people on social media too, if they are on social media, because that'd be a good little push to for some of them that we may not already have it in with. Now, some of these, that we've already talked to that I mentioned earlier, we've got a tiny relationship with that might help pave the way. All right, before we get out of here tonight, one more thing we're going to do, and that is our traditional Michael Myers Monday shout outs. You guys know the deal. For over 10 years, we've been doing Michael Myers Monday on social media every Monday. Try to make Mondays suck less and just be generally more killer. And they have taken on all kinds of meanings for all kinds of different people. And so every week I just try to, share a couple random ones from Twitter and Instagram. And like I always say, it's not even these are the best or anything like that necessarily. It's just a couple that I picked out for whatever reason. And as always, I'm sorry if I didn't get to yours, or if I missed retweeting or reposting yours this week. We try to get to as many as we can. All right, shout outs. Let's go over here to Twitter. First up, our friends at the Halloween Verse. That's at Halloween Verse. They say Halloween plans greater than New Year's resolutions, and here we have a Myers meme where everyone's making New Year's resolutions, and I'm over here like, so what's everyone doing for Halloween? I think we can all relate to that one. Another one from one of our friends in the live chat here tonight with us. This is Halloween Vibes on Twitter at Halloween Vibes. Our buddy Josh rocking his Myers Kills mask. And that mask looks a little familiar. I think I might know where Josh purchased that mask. As a matter of fact, we got more of those in stock at HalloweenDailyNews.com/shop. This is the first Michael Myers Monday of 2023. Yes, sir. Make it a killer one. I love it. One more from Twitter. You've got to love this. This is from Autumn Love at 1722 Autumn. Happy Michael Myers Monday, she says. And the photo says, when your kiddo wants to be both a hot dog and Michael Myers, well then Oscar Myers is born. I love everything about this. I mean, kids got good taste. That's all you need on a grilled dog is just a little bit of mustard. It's pretty perfect. And yeah, his mask looks totally on point. Got a kick-ass knife there. And I'm even digging the TIE fighter in the background there. Very nice young man. Happy Michael Myers Monday to you. All right, let's move over to Instagram. This one comes to us from Halloween Yard Haunt on 5th Street. Love this spin. A lot of New Year's Michael Myers Monday love here today for obvious reasons. Here we have Laurie Strode still dealing with shit from 2020 as well as 21 and 22. But, yep, here comes Michael out of the darkness. Hey, bitch, I'm 2023. Yep. I think we kind of all feel a little bit like that today, probably, especially if you had to go back to work today. If not, well, then, yeah, this Laurie, that'll be you tomorrow morning. Also from Instagram today, this is an awesome one from Zenis Meza. We've shared her stuff here on previous weeks. She is always on point every week, sharing awesome Michael Myers Monday content. And I just love she's showing off her collectibles and her cosplay as well. Everything on theme. This week's theme, obviously, it's Halloween 281, which has kind of been a bit of a recurring theme for us. We've talked a lot about that one, but I always talk a lot about that one because it's one of the best in the whole franchise. You can see she's got a couple H2 figures hanging on the wall behind her and rocking her Haddonfield Memorial Hospital nurse's outfit. And one more this week from Instagram from our friend Tyler Main at The Real Tyler Main, with a behind-the-scenes shot of him as Myers and our friend Scout Taylor Compton on the set of Rob Zombie's Halloween 07. Today, Tyler says, when you had a big New Year's weekend and just wanted to hide out under the sheets on a Michael Myers Monday, but I showed up. Boom. Get up and get to it. Let's rock 2023. What are your life goals this year? Well, most immediate life goal would be to get to Pasadena for age 45, right? Michael Myers Monday crew. I think that is pretty unanimous for the whole Triple M crew here. By hook or by crook, we're going to figure out a way. We're going to make it happen. We're going to do it somehow. Isn't that right, everybody? Hell yes. All right, it is well after midnight, well after the 2-hour mark. I can't believe we've been on this long, but this has been fun. It was great having Mr. Christopher Nelson in here earlier this evening. You know, sometimes we get people that have a celebrity name or whatever, and I usually don't trust that it's the actual person. But he actually did send me a private message earlier this evening and gave me a heads up that he might be popping in to say hi. That's why I was confident that was actually the real deal. So thank you again, sir, for joining us and hanging out for a little while this evening. And thank all of you guys, as always. It is 2023. I can't believe it. Another year done. Like I said, that in itself is worth celebrating, you know. It does feel weird, like I said, that we don't have a new Myers movie on the calendar at the moment. I know we the temptation is to, well, what's next? What's next? I'm just like, let's just pump the brakes for a second. Let's just enjoy where we're at. Let's just enjoy this. It just got here. It's, and let's rewatch ends another, 10 or 12 times. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. And and find out what's next. But you guys, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. I think everybody watching right now has, but just in case somebody stumbles on this and you haven't, and you liked what we did here, be sure to subscribe. If you didn't like it and you watched this long, well, then you might as well subscribe too. And if you're watching this on a replay, definitely want to hear from you as well. Feel free to comment on anything we've talked about here tonight down in the comments below. And you can reach out to us anytime. You can always contact us through email at halloweendailynews.com/contact. Just go to halloweendailynews.com and hit the contact page. You can also reach out to us through social media. Be sure to follow us on the other socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that stuff. We're on all them. We're even over on TikTok too, and we put a news video up on there every now and then when we can. We're trying to learn how to do it better and maximize that audience as well. So if you're over there and you like TikTok, follow Halloween Daily News on there as well. And think about joining the HDN Club. It's only $5 a month. You get to see a lot of cool videos before anybody else does here, and other cool exclusive perks that you can learn about when you click on the join button down below. It's just $5 a month, and it's really just a way to help support us and what we do here on HDN and help keep the lights on. Like I said, check out my exclusive interview with Michelle Dawson of Halloween Ends. If you haven't already, it is elsewhere here on this channel. Earlier today, we had a new Halloween 2023 release from Distortions Unlimited. Also earlier today, yesterday actually, on January 1st, LeMax unveiled their entire 2023 Spooky Town Halloween Village collection. We've got highlights of it right now at HalloweenDailyNews.com, and I've got a in-depth video breakdown of over 50 new Spooky Town pieces dropping right here on the HDN channel tomorrow, so you can look for that on Tuesday. And lots more coming your way, including some very exciting exclusive interviews that we are lining up right now. You know how it goes. I don't like to say who it's going to be until we've already recorded and it's in the can. So I'm a little superstitious that way. So I'm not going to say who it's going to be, but turn on your notifications. Watch the community tab here on YouTube. And, of course, follow us on Twitter and all that other stuff. And you will be the first to know. Trust me. There's some good ones coming. All right. I think that's what we got. I'm going to check in here one more time. I can't believe it's almost 1 a.m. How did it get so late so fast? Crazy. Ian Drummond says, Ends will give us lots to talk about for a while, plus the novel. Hell yes. And like I said, I'm still reading that novel. We're going to start breaking it down probably on next week's Triple M. And it's going to take a few weeks to really break down everything in there, because there's a lot, like you guys are saying, there's a lot of good stuff included in there. I think that is a true gift to us fans. The physical edition format of the soundtrack comes out in a few weeks too. That's also happening this month, so be on the lookout for that. We'll have be talking about that, and lots more news as it comes. And as always, subscribe to the website directly. Everything we talk about here, you can always find it usually first at HalloweenDailyNews.com, but I do try to give the Triple M Monday Night Crew something special on Monday nights. This week it was really the Chia Pet preview. And Jim Winburn is up there publicly, but we haven't really shared it on the other socials since posting it. It was kind of members only thing for about a week. That was kind of one of the benefits that they get, some kind of stuff like that. And before sharing it to everywhere else, I wanted to give you guys the heads up and listen to that, because he is a legend, and we'll all miss him. All right, guys, I think that's where we're at right now. Andromeda says, what if someone did a comic book series based on the novel? Now, that would be badass. There have been various comic books, official comic book series released. One storyline was never finished, tragically. It still should be. But all those comics have been really good that they've done over the years. And they all do what I think I'll just say that that'd be the way I'd be looking, if not to directly adapt any of those comics, but to how those comics said, let's take a section of mythology a number of years and go into it that way where it doesn't affect any of the existing timelines, movies, or any of that. And if anything, maybe it rectifies some things in the process. That's how they did it with most all of those comics that were previously released, and it was kind of really smart how they were able to do that. I would hope if they could do something like that again, either in comic form or like you know in future films. But yes, a comic adapting Paul Brad Logan's novel, now that would be totally badass. And this is the same team. Again, we got that great children's book a few years ago that David Gordon Green wrote in Dr. Seuss style with those great Scooby-Doo type illustrations in it, called The Legend of Halloween. It's really cool. So, they do think outside the box. I just also kind of feel that maybe this particular creative team, we know they're making The Exorcist now, and then they're going to be making Exorcist Kills and Exorcist Ends. Not official titles, but you know what I mean. So I don't know how much they're thinking about Haddonfield at the moment, but anything's possible with this franchise, and we know that with this being the 45th anniversary year, there's definitely going to be some exciting announcements, anniversary events, and just various merch releases and stuff coming out, because of course the 45th anniversary of the original film, of course, means some other anniversaries of other films of the franchise. It's 35th anniversary of Halloween 4. It's the 25th silver anniversary of H2O, and of course now it's the 5th anniversary of a little movie called Halloween 2018. So, all right. David's talking about Night Dance. That would be good. John Cap says, good point about the baby. Ben Tramer has the mask with the blonde hair. I missed that about the baby. Larry says, I think Allison and Corey had a baby who has the spirit of Michael. Now that could be interesting, because they did have their they did spend the night together. So that could be it. That could be the way in. Larry, thank you so much for the compliment, man. I really appreciate that. All right. I think we've all got some thoughts and some homework to chew on and think about here. All right. If you've got more thoughts, keep the conversation going. Chime in the comments down below. And like I said, be sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. Like the video, share the video, invite your friends next week. We do this all the time. If you liked what we did here, then you'll like it next week as well. But this is far from the only thing we do here. Like I said, there's lots of exciting content outside of this franchise, but always related to Halloween in some way, coming your way right here on the HG channel. And you're not going to want to miss any of it. I promise you. Until then, I'm Matt Arts for Halloween Daily News. Thank you all for hanging out with me and watching tonight and participating and having a great conversation. Good night and happy Michael Myers Monday.